The last day of Pompeii. 2,000 years ago, in the land that is now Italy, the mighty Roman Empire was flourishing. Along its southern coast stood a beautiful and lively city called Pompeii. Filled with harbors and markets, theaters and homes, it was a place where countless lives took root. At that time, Pompeii was one of the richest and most prosperous cities of the Roman Empire. In Pompeii lived ordinary people, no different from us, each carrying on with their daily lives. The baker lit the oven before dawn and baked warm loaves of bread. At the harbor, fishermen cleaned the fresh fish they had caught and prepared for the day. Merchants and travelers began their busy mornings in the lively streets. Children ran through narrow alleys, laughing as they played. Wealthy nobles welcomed guests in their grand houses and enjoyed leisurely hours. Soldiers guarding the city carried out their routine duties in calm order. For the people of Pompeii, it was another ordinary and stable day, just like any other. Not far from the city stood a great mountain called Vesuvius. People at the time believed it was a dead volcano that had long ceased its activity. Very few truly understood how dangerous and destructive a volcano could be. No one imagined the great disaster that was about to arrive. Early in the morning, the baker carefully baked bread before the hot oven. The rich smell of bread spread through the streets and drew people in. At the harbor, fishermen mended their nets and checked their boats for the day ahead. All of this was a familiar and ordinary scene, repeated every day in Pompeii. Pompeii was an international city where travelers from many regions constantly came and went. In inns and markets, many languages blended together naturally. Market sellers called out loudly to customers as they busily worked through the day. In this way, the streets and markets were the vital heart that connected the lives of Pompeii's people. One day, strange and unexplainable signs began to appear throughout the city. The ground trembled slightly from time to time, and unknown sounds could be heard. The sky also began to feel unusually dark and heavy. But most people dismissed these signs as temporary and paid little attention. Even the children who played in the streets began to sense something unfamiliar. Low, rumbling sounds from afar stirred fear in their young hearts. Adults comforted the worried children and led them back into their homes. Yet an unseen fear slowly spread across the entire city. The soldiers who kept the city safe sensed that something was wrong. The faces of people in the streets showed growing signs of anxiety. The soldiers did their best to maintain order, but confusion continued to grow. At last, black smoke could clearly be seen rising from the top of Mount Vesuvius. A merchant was handing goods to a customer as he always had. Suddenly, gray ash began to fall from the sky like slow snowflakes. Startled people hurried to close their shops and return home. The peaceful routine of daily life began to crack and collapse. August, Mount Vesuvius erupted in a massive explosion that shook heaven and earth. Blazing ash and black smoke quickly covered the entire sky. People screamed in terror and ran desperately in search of safety. The once prosperous streets of Pompeii turned in an instant into a place of chaos and fear. Travelers and merchants, fishermen and nobles alike, all faced the same extreme terror. Some ran toward the sea, while others fled inland beyond the city. But hot ash and choking smoke swallowed the city at an ever faster pace. People called out each other's names as they struggled desperately to survive. In the end, Pompeii was completely buried under layers of volcanic ash several meters thick. Streets and homes, markets and harbors froze in time just as they were that day. The lives of countless people who lived there were halted in that single moment. The city that had once flourished in the Roman Empire vanished into history. As hundreds of years passed, memories of Pompeii slowly faded away. Later generations no longer knew that a city had once existed there. Yet deep underground, the day from 2,000 years ago remained preserved. History waited silently for the moment it would return to the world. After a long passage of time, archaeologists finally began to uncover the forgotten city. Homes and streets, murals and everyday objects were astonishingly well preserved. Through these discoveries, researchers vividly reconstructed the real lives of Pompeii's people. The past, long asleep, became an important witness to history from modern times. The tragedy of Pompeii is not just a story from the distant past. The people who lived there were real individuals with dreams and hopes just like ours. Their story teaches us that humans must always remain humble before the power of nature. Remembering and learning from the past is the first step toward creating a safer future.